Hey guys, welcome to another devotional. I'm Pastor Adam. I'm glad you are with me. Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about Noah and the ark. But before we get into that, let's have a bit of fun and play a game of Would You Rather. First question. Would you rather wear clown makeup every day for a year? Or a tutu every day for a year? Clown makeup, tutu. Second question. Would you rather live in an amusement park or zoo? And why? Amusement park or zoo? And finally, number 3. Would you rather have your favorite of all songs, stuck in your head on repeat for the rest of your life? Always having that tune stuck in your head, or have the same dream each and every night? Which one? Talk about it. Get back to me. Thanks. So our memory verse this week is from 1 John 5, 3, 4a. 1 John 5, 3 through 4a, where it says, For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not burdensome. For whatever is born of God overcomes the world. 1 John 5, 3 through 4a. Let's try that one more time, okay? For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, for his commandments are not burdensome. For whatever is born of God overcomes the world. 1 John 5, 3, 4a. Simple. Talking a lot about keeping God's commandments. God's commandments are what we see in our Bible, and that's what we're supposed to keep. Because as it says in 1 John, if we are believers in God, if we are born of God, we can overcome the world because God is with us. Then that's why we're talking about today, Noah, keeping God's commandment, because God asked Noah to build an ark because he was going to flood the world because of the sin of the world, because of the greatness of it. But the day had finally come. The ark is finished. And because of Noah's great faith, he was able to preserve till the day of the flood happened. But now Noah had to shift from Bob the Builder to the man of kind of faith, an obedient man of faith, because it's time to get on board. Let's open our Bible to Genesis chapter 7. We're going to be reading this first few verses of it. First, Genesis chapter 7. The first verse says, Then the Lord said to Noah, Go into the ark, you and all your household, for I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. So the building time is over. We saw God say to build it. We saw God tell him how to build it, the dimensions and the tools, the materials needed. Now we know that the build is over. How long? Doesn't matter. We know that it's after all these time, and we can assume years because after all, this is a large boat. The time is now. It's time for God to judge, because God said even after all this time, all these years, that Noah and his household are seen as righteous in a sinful world, and that's a-okay, exactly what we're supposed to be. Still the only righteous ones. Okay? So now that the build is over, let's see in verse 2 and 3 what God commands them to do. So in verse 2 it says, Take with you 7 pairs of all clean animals, the male and his mates, and a pair of the animals that are not clean, the male and his mates, and 7 pairs of birds of the heavens, also male and female, to keep their offspring alive on the face of the earth. So here's a little tiny change from what God said earlier. Instead of just he said bring a male and female, a male and female of every kind of animal. Now he says clean and unclean, getting more specific. He has to bring 7 pairs of clean animals, while only still just the 2 pairs. Why 7 types of clean animals? What are a clean animal? Is it an animal that has taken a bath? rub down with Dove soap, get all the nastiness off of them? No. Unclean. There are the law in the Bible, the book of Exodus, Leviticus, and even Deuteronomy a little bit, talk a lot about what a clean and unclean animal is. And since this is important to know, clean and animal, these are animals that are able to be used for food, used for worship, used for a lot of things, and specifically types to eat and types to stay away from. So, for instance, flying animal. I'm not going to give you the entire list. I'm just going to give you little picks of what a clean and unclean animal is. So, a clean type of flying animal: chicken, goose, duck, pigeon, quail, turkey, owl. Most of them are animals that we eat today. I don't know about owl, but then the untype of clean animals: bats, condors, pelicans, penguins, seagulls, woodpeckers. Yeah, no. These are animals that they were supposed to stay away from eating, stay away from sacrificing, using to. These are just animals not to be digested or eaten and cooked or eaten any type. And by the way, bat? No. I'm not going to go down to Outback Steakhouse and say, I'll take the bat wings, please. Barbecue sauce, yeah. No. Then you go to insects, and the specific, while there's individual types of insects that they give for clean animals, the Leviticus 11 tells us that these are supposed to be insects with jointed and jumping legs. So think crickets or locusts, grasshoppers. Don't think moth, bee. It's got to have jointed and jumping legs. Then there's the clean land animals. And again, Leviticus tells us a lot about what kinds of animals and giving us examples. We'll go through those. But the broad scape of test of if it's clean or unclean would be mammals that chew the cud and have parted hoof. So chewing cud would kind of be like cows and camels, buffaloes, sheep, ox, and then because their feet have a cloven hoof. Unclean animals would be the obvious: dogs, cats, armadillos, horses, mules, rats, pigs. See, here's the thing that separates the Jewish people. Because while the pig chews it doesn't have a hoof that is cloven. So they're not allowed, it's a forbidden meat. And that means they're missing out on all the deliciousness that is bacon, baby rack ribs, pork sausage, tenderloins, pork chops, and all the things in between. Because God said not to. And then finally, water animals. It has to be a fish with fins and scales. Fins and scales. A water animal with fins and scales. So that would be a lot of different types of fish that we could see. But you know what doesn't fall under? Shrimp, crawfish, lobster. Are there scales on their body? You know, and of course there's the obvious too. Don't eat dolphin, don't eat otter, don't eat a porpoise or a whale. Can't eat that otter. These are the type of food that they're supposed to bring, and these are these clean animals, examples of it. They're supposed to bring a male and female, and 7 pairs of these kinds. We talked about kinds in our last video. So with the dogs is an example. They're not supposed to bring in every different types of breeds, but a kind of that breed. And for that, and these animals are to be kept alive. They bring such a great volume of 7 of these because they're used so often as food for the food cycle and religious ceremonies as a sacrifice. So that you're going to need more of them, and they don't want the Noah's children and grandchildren and so forth wiping out the resources. So they're supposed to bring all these types of things. But listen in verse 4 and 5 as God gives more instructions. For in 7 days I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and every living thing that I have made I will blot out from the face of the ground. And Noah did all that the Lord commanded. So he said, in 1 week, I'm going to make it rain for 40 days, 40 nights straight. We've been through a lot of bad weather, a lot of rainstorms. But you know what? We've never had one that's lasted probably more than a week, let alone for more than a month. This is going to be terrible. And if there was Weather Channel in a day, you know they're going to be they would have gone nuts for this. Yeah. But in 1 week, they had a 24-hour cycle of rain for 40 days coming. And that's why the earth filled so greatly, so that everything was covered, from the tallest mountain covered. But where would you spend your last week if you were this like Noah or his family? God told him, in 1 week, we're going to get on the boats. So would you plan like a 5-day getaway? Go visit your last favorite stops or hotel, food areas, whatever? Would you use it telling other people about God? Would you prepare food? You know, if I'm going to be spending on this boat for 40 days, I'm going to make sure I have chicken wings to eat. Would you tell other people? You have 1 week, guys. 1 week left. Thoughts? If you had that 1 week left today, how would you spend it? Would you spend it getting your life right with Christ? Spending with friends and family? Going someplace? Or just filling out the bucket list items? But Noah did everything God commanded. And here we go. Verse 6. Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters came upon the earth. 600. And Noah, his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives went into the ark to escape the waters of the flood. Of clean animals and of animals that are not clean, and of birds and everything that creeps on the ground. 2 and 2, male and female, went into the ark and with Noah, as God had commanded. And after 7 days, the water of the flood came upon the earth. They got in, they got prepared, and they got saved. Flood waters came all over the earth. Let's not forget, this isn't just over the town that Noah lives in, or his state, or area. This is the entirety of the world. And he brought everything everything. 7 clean pairs of that kind, 2 uncleans of the kind, and his family all boarded the ark. And let's just take the obvious question out. Noah and his family, and his sons and his family, didn't have to go arrange for the animals to come. Be like, go barter. I need 2 elephants. Come on. No. God brought the animals that he needed to be brought there. God saved this family. God saved these species to the ark. This isn't something that Noah did. Noah had a way talking, like a Dr. Doolittle type of thing, where he talked to the animals and they could listen and everything was cool. That's not what happened. God brought everybody there. God saved these people. God saved these animals. But as we look to the closing of this pre-flood, as this week of preparedness, as the rain is starting to dry, I would assume clouds are forming, rain's about to come down. Listen what it says in the final, for our final section, 13 through 16. On the very same day, Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons entered the ark. They, every beast according to its kind, all the livestock according to its kind, everything that creeps on the earth according to its kind, every bird according to its kind, every winged creature. No fish, huh? Because they can swim. They don't fish, and marine life don't need to go in the ark. They're in probably paradise for them. But listen to this in 15. They went into the ark with Noah, 2 and 2, all the flesh that was there for the breath of life, and all those that entered, male and female, went in flesh as God commanded, and the Lord shut him in. So, all the animals that are needed went. Noah and his family went in. Everybody is on this life-giving raft of salvation, just as God asked them to, just as God prepared for them to be. And after this last week, this final last push for anybody to come to safety, it was just Noah's family. Then the rain, and these animals. Then the rain came. They had all these people had a chance to change their lives, to be forgiven, to seek repentance, to come and have a safety, and he didn't. Because the most special part was the last few words of verse 16, where it says, "And the Lord shut him in." God closed the door of the ark. No matter how many people are pounding on the door, no matter how many people are shouting, "Noah, please let us in," Noah couldn't open the door if he wanted to. God closed it. This was the way God intended after they had their chance. Could not be opened or reopened until the time for them to get off. And God told Noah that he was going to destroy the earth. And Noah and his family were prepared. And only Noah and his family were obedient to God. Did anyone else believe Noah and his family when they told him that God is going to destroy the earth? Obviously not, since no one came. When they saw Noah building the ark, did they understand then? When they saw animals coming, did they understand then? The answer is no. The ark was a means of salvation for Noah and his family. And it took having great faith in God and a great obedience to God. Even though it was unclear what would happen. Because all God has told them, build the ark, it's going to rain. How long? What's going to happen to the earth? Do I have to do anything with animals? There's a lot of follow-up questions that I probably would have asked. Noah was obedient. Just like when Jesus came to earth to be our Savior. All we need to do is put our trust in God and be obedient to his will so we can have a life with him. Many people today are like in Noah's time. They hear this and they do nothing. Doing the right thing is obeying God. We can learn a lot from Noah by being like Noah in our world today. So next week, we're going to talk floods. And we're going to do some math. All right, see you next time, guys.